Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts with breaking news.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Boone County near Harrisburg. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks so much for joining us. A head-on collision on West Highway 124 left multiple people hurt. This is a map of where it happened. One person was taken out of the scene by helicopter. KOMU 8's Vasi Prokos is on the scene of a head-on collision there. And Vasi, what do we know right now?
Emily, Boone County Sheriff's Office have the highway blocked off right now. This video is from moments ago. They confirmed there are multiple victims being sent to University Hospital, but we still don't know what condition they're in. A helicopter was called in to take one patient to the hospital. We've seen the ambulance coming and going in the last hour. We'll continue to keep you updated online on Twitter at KMU.com. I'm Vasi Prokos near Harrisburg, KMU 8 News.
Definitely a very active scene there. We'll definitely keep you updated. The recent voter ID bill passed by state legislature at the end of session in May is set to take effect this Sunday. But some civil rights groups are taking a stand against that legislation after lawsuits were filed by the groups yesterday. KOMU 8's Blake Phillips spoke to them today to understand what the lawsuits are aiming to do, Blake.
Well, Emily, barring an injunction, House Bill 1878 will be in place come the midterm elections. And while the bill may have passed, a coalition of civil rights groups are not done fighting the legislation.
Our legislature has sought to impose strict photo ID.
House Bill 1878, more commonly known as the Voter ID Bill, will go into effect on August 28th. But in a last-ditch effort, a coalition of civil rights groups led by the Missouri chapter of the NAACP filed a lawsuit yesterday to stop the bill.
The first issue and the first lawsuit that we filed was on the ability of residents or citizens in Missouri to register other citizens. That has in effect been criminalized. The second lawsuit focuses on the strict photo ID requirement, which was ruled unconstitutional.
The lawsuit aims to clarify some of the bill's language over paid volunteers helping to register voters.
The language on its face is vague and doesn't give civic engagement organizations like our clients the ability to understand what conduct is actually criminalized under the law.
And while the NAACP and Missouri Voter Protection Coalition lead the charge against the bill, other organizations are aiming to make voter ID more accessible to groups challenged by getting one.
And so we're working with several faith community leaders across the state to establish what we call photo ID assistant sites.
At these sites, the MFV and other groups will help people get the documentation that they need with the help of the Secretary of State.
And so the good news is that there is at least communication between the faith community, the Black community, and the Secretary of State's office, so that we can find out that in the midst of the mess, what can we do?
So Blake, how long does it take to get a driver's license right now?
Well, Emily, it can take anywhere from 7 to 10 business days. So to be safe, you should probably head to the DMV at least 2 weeks before election time.
Good advice. Thanks, Blake. Well, CPS students returned to classes today. For one high school, officers also returned. Battle brought back 2 school resource officers in March, and students say they feel safe at Battle itself, but the officers help them feel more comfortable about the potential for school shooters or intruders.
I feel like we're a lot safer with, police officers in the building, because if an intruder does come in, they're first to respond.
CPS and CPD want to add 1 SRO to Rockbridge High School and 1 to Hickman. CPD says it expects those positions to be filled by January, but it's hard to know for sure because of staffing issues. Take a look here at this graph. You see this spike as it goes up there? That's a spike in enrollment at State Tech for the past decade in Lynn, Missouri. And with a major spike in just the last 6 years, the school has welcomed hundreds of new students. However, now they face these same challenges as bigger institutions of making sure all of those students are housed. KOMU 8's Rachel Henderson spent today learning more about what they did this year to solve their housing problem.
It's literally increased every year for the last 6 years. So right now we're at 2,200, just over 2,200. And just about 6 years ago, we were about 900 and some.
But these were numbers the school wasn't necessarily expecting to reach.
This year was a little bit different. We had a little bit of a crunch. So we actually partnered with Lincoln University in Jefferson City.
30 students, a resident advisor, and the school's intramural coordinator are all housed on Lincoln's campus instead of State Tech's.
From here to Lincoln, it's not too bad. It's pretty much of a straight shot. It's about a 25-minute drive.
The commute varies anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes depending on traffic.
We wanted to make sure that they didn't have to travel hours and hours to get here.
So it's pretty nice that I am 30 minutes away with the students that are also 30 minutes away. So it's kind of like I can feel with them how hard it is to go back and forth.
Students staying on Lincoln's campus pay Lincoln University rates. This amounts to about a $500 difference each semester.
Once they get to know each other more, especially as roommates, they'll probably end up actually carpooling.
In terms of next year, whether or not this partnership continues is still up in the air.
A lot of the developers in town are already in the process of building more apartments. So there will be more apartments available as soon as next year. But this particular year, we didn't quite keep up with growth.
Rachel Henderson, KMU8 News, Lynn.
The marketing director also said students have the option to choose whether they want a State Tech meal plan or a Lincoln meal plan. In more commuting news, there could be a new way to travel between Columbia and Jefferson City without having to drive or carpool. MoDOT is asking for feedback about a new potential bus route. The service would run between downtown Columbia and Jefferson City Amtrak and other points in between. Daryl Snyder is one of 9 people in his company who make this commute daily. He says he would have loved this option when he was younger.
Whenever I started in Jefferson City, I was an intern in 1996, not making very much money. I was driving an old Jeep, which is not good for gas mileage, and I certainly would have considered that as an option.
MoDOT says the Columbia Jefferson City Express bus study is part of the very early stages of this project. The Columbia Police Department is welcoming 9 new graduates from the Law Enforcement Training Institute, and this represents one of CPD's largest graduating classes in years. Even though the officers have completed 700 hours of training, they won't be working independently quite yet. The officers will transition to CPD's field training program, which pairs new officers with a field trainer for 16 weeks. CPD says more recruitment efforts will make a difference.
Throughout the state, out of state, they're going around trying to find, the high caliber kind of recruits that will, serve the Columbia Police Department, and the Columbia community.
5 more recruits are enrolled in the Training Institute's Fall Academy, which will begin on August 29th. Tonight we're taking a look at a new Missouri law that went into effect over the weekend. The law puts a restriction on the reading materials available at private and public school libraries. Not following the law could mean a hefty fine or even jail time. While there are a few exceptions, there isn't a specific list of titles. One Missouri high school student says she thinks the law is doing more harm than good.
It's not allowing us to get multiple perspectives. It's not allowing us to know about some of the harsh realities, know about some of the stuff that happened before our time.
She says she's also worried the new law will set their generation up for, quote, failure.
Temperatures haven't really moved from where they were at this time yesterday. Comparatively, that 24-hour temperature change, very minimal, and that has been a constant theme that we've seen all week long. That temperature about 2 degrees warmer than it was at this time yesterday. Looking at our hourly forecast as we go through the rest of the night, we are going to be into the middle 60s as we start our day tomorrow. We'll get to the upper 80s in the afternoon. By Thursday, we're nearing 90 degrees, so it's a little warmer, a little more humid too. Then on Friday, we're at 87 degrees. We'll cool down slightly, but it's looking good for those first rounds of high school football. A look at your Friday Night Fever forecast and a look at the weekend ahead. Coming up, Emily.
Okay, thanks, Matt. New tonight, charges against the 2 Atlanta police officers who shot Rayshard Brooks have been dropped. Brooks was shot after an incident at Wendy's parking lot in June 2020. The 2 officers involved were arrested on several charges. Today, the special prosecutor officially dropped those charges, saying the use of deadly force was, quote, reasonable. And in Arkansas, you may have seen this viral video of 3 police officers beating a man outside a convenience store. Tonight, we're learning this might not be the first time those officers have been accused of brutally beating someone. 2 men have now come forward claiming they have also been beaten. The state is still investigating, and the officers are currently suspended. We're getting our first look at scary video of a highway in Arkansas. Look at this here. A truck hauling diesel fuel crashed yesterday afternoon, causing this fire. The highway reopened today, nearly 24 hours after the fire erupted. We're still trying to find out if anyone was hurt. Pfizer is looking to gain more ground in the war against COVID-19. The request it's making to the FDA to try and fight Omicron. Plus, there's nothing better than a fresh new haircut on the first day of school. Coming up after this break, hear how some Columbia barbers went the extra mile to give more kids that opportunity in tonight's MVP. That's when we come back. There's a lot that goes into getting ready to go back to school for families, and lots of it comes at a price. In tonight's MVP, I'll tell you about one Columbia event that's helping ease that burden by making sure kids are looking and feeling their best for school for free.
Yeah.
At this Columbia Park, things are buzzing. Not with bees, but barbers.
We just trying to give back to the community by being local barbers.
And just like honey, this sound is making something sweet.
You in first grade? Yeah. Just excited to be out here doing a good thing for the kids.
No payment.
Haircuts for free.
All charity work. All for the community.
Just in time for school.
First of all, I have 4 kiddos, so events like this I think is amazing.
We're cutting hair out here at the back to school haircut, hosted by Ren's Blends.
That's a barbershop in downtown Columbia, and for the second year, its owner Lorenzo Shepard helped put on this back to school event.
Seeing a kid with a smile on their face with a nice haircut going to school, you know, is like great for me.
He's no stranger to this active service.
I've been cutting hair since I was like 14. I used to walk around with a duffel bag and just had a pair of clippers and a butter knife and just go around cutting on my friends' hair.
Now he's cutting their hair to give back.
I'm just all about giving back to the community. You know, I mean, it's not much, but I mean, it's the best that I can do.
All of the barbers donated their time and talents.
Yeah, but I'm privileged to be a part of this, though. It's a blessing.
If children don't have support, they end up going the wrong way.
It's Otis Robinson's first time, and he'll be back.
I don't want to miss another one. Not at all. Not by far.
I'm really fast.
New City Council member Roy Lovelady, who owns a salon, wouldn't miss it either.
Oh, it's important to me to give back to my community because I know what it's like to be in this position. If I could do this and still have a living wage, this would be like my thing to do.
Parents were grateful.
I'm just happy right now. I'm overjoyed. So thank you guys so much.
Kids were excited about what the new year will bring.
To learn new things.
And this first grader will do it with a fresh haircut.
I give up my time, you know, for kids any day, you know, especially a day before they go to school.
Now the community knows what the buzz is all about. It's the sweet sound of giving back.
This is a big help. A big help.
That event also featured free back-to-school supplies, a raffle for clothes, and a grilling competition. Dream Tree Academy, a nonprofit after-school program, also helped put it together. They plan to be back next year if you missed it this year. Matt.
We are looking at back to school conditions pretty good for Fulton, Mexico tomorrow. Both of those school districts are going to be back in session. Of course, joining that growing list of school districts that have gone back, we are going to be in the middle 60s in the morning. Some very patchy fog is possible in those River Valley areas, but each and every morning we've seen a little bit less fog, so I'm not too concerned about it. As you're headed out the door, I don't think you're going to run into many problems. We're going to quickly warm up. In fact, by 11 a.m., we're at 79 degrees, and at 3 o'clock, we're at 87 degrees, and at times, it may feel a little toasty in the sunshine. High pressure overhead, that's giving us those calm winds, very quiet conditions, and the things are going to be staying very quiet over the next few days. A low pressure system down to the south. Some showers and thunderstorms moving into Mississippi and Alabama. This is actually the same system that produced the heavy rainfall down in Texas yesterday. It has significantly weakened as it moved to the east, but these will kind of ramp up again tomorrow, bringing the potential for some locally heavy rain across parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Temperatures right now at 74 degrees in Columbia. Those winds light out of the east at 5 miles per hour. That dew point of 64, the dew point going to be a little bit lower tomorrow. It was lower this afternoon. And then we're going to be looking at values above this as we head into the middle and end of the week. And that increase in the humidity, it's going to be felt across the region. So again, that dew point value a little bit lower tomorrow, down to that noticeable level. Then we're sticky Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and by Sunday, that's when we're getting closer to that harsh level. But on Sunday, we're going to have a little bit of cooler air, and a rain chance is going to start to move in. So that's a benefit of a little bit more humidity, is that some rain is going to be moving back in. Temperatures going to be pretty stagnant. We've been adding about a degree or so a day. We're going to continue that for the next 2. By Thursday, that temperature may just kiss 90 degrees. Then as we head to Friday and Saturday, still looking at those middle to upper 80s, middle 80s by Sunday, that low temperature rising as that humidity rises as well. Rain chances looking very low. A sprinkle not out of the question on Friday. We'll watch that to the north. Of course, KOMU 8 First Alert Weather going to keep you updated with that for the rest of the week. Heading into Sunday, that's when the better chances of moisture are going to be moving through central Missouri. Here's a preview of that Saturday afternoon. Cloud cover moving in. The precipitation mainly off to our north. Now, we're still quite a few days out, so we don't want to get married to this yet, but we'll keep an eye on it as we watch the trend over the next few days. By Sunday, seeing a little bit more moisture across the region. Monday, though, looks to be our highlight day for the potential of showers and, yes, even some thunderstorms. And once we get that rain back into central Missouri, it'll help wash some of the pollen away, weeds and mold in the high category, and overall your allergy forecast remaining high for the next 4 days. So I don't have good news for you. No relief in the forecast over the next several days. 65 for tonight, 88 for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. Overall, we are a bit warmer, near 90 on Thursday. Friday, we're at 87 degrees. The first Friday night fever game going to be 84 degrees at 7 o'clock. Ben Arnett going to be in Mexico where they're playing Centralia. Going to be very comfortable for those first games of the season. Showers and storms back with us with that potential on Monday, Emily.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Before we send you off to break, here's a look at those lottery numbers. Good luck. Potentially good news tonight in the fight against the COVID pandemic. Pfizer is asking the FDA to approve its updated version of the vaccine. The new vaccine specifically targets the Omicron variant. Pfizer expects human trials to start this month. Pfizer already has plans to distribute if the request is approved. Yelp is trying to make it easier for women looking for abortion services to find them. It's rolling out a new label that distinguishes the difference between a crisis pregnancy centers compared to others. These are organizations that try to convince women not to terminate pregnancies. Yelp says its new system will help distinguish crisis and faith-based pregnancy centers from medical health care providers. Matt.
Your SunSense number at an 8 for the next 3 days. We'll be right back.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Today, Mizzou named 8 captains for the upcoming season. Why 8 when most college football teams have 3 or 4? Well, head coach Eli Drinkwitz said because more is better. The defensive captains are 4 seniors: safety Martez Manuel, defensive lineman Isaiah McGuire and Darius Robinson, and linebacker Chad Bailey. Senior receivers Towski Dove and Barrett Bannister are joined on offense by senior offensive tackle Javon Foster and starting quarterback Brady Cook, who is only a sophomore. Manuel is the only returning captain, and he's got some advice for his fellow leaders.
I told the guys this year that I was super happy for them that they are captains, but I also told them that it's one of the hardest things that you're going to do. It's not all fun and games. Sometimes you got to be the bad guy. Sometimes you got to do what's best for the group, and maybe it goes against one of your best friends, but if it's best for the team, then that's what comes first, you know.
Now, 3 Tigers earned preseason All-SEC honors from the conference's coaches today, including kicker Harrison Mevis, who's on the first team. He hit 92% of his kicks a year ago for Missouri. Offensive lineman Javon Foster, a captain, earned second-team honors. He's one of the highest-graded offensive tackles in the SEC. And defensive back Chris Abrams-Drain is on the third team. He had 3 interceptions for Mizzou last season. Nick Saban's going to be in Tuscaloosa a little bit longer and get a little bit richer. The Alabama football coach signed a contract extension through the 2030 season when he'll be 79 years old. The new deal makes Saban the highest paid coach at a public university at $11.7 million per year. It only took 1 run to beat the Cubs on Monday night as the Cards opened a 5-game series at Wrigley Field. They need more than that if the Cardinals planned on sweeping today's doubleheader. Game 2 in the evening, wind blowing out at Wrigley. You know who likes that? I'll tell you who. Nolan Arenado, DHing this evening, hammered his 26th home run of the season. That made it 1-0 St. Louis. Later in the 4th inning, they keep flying out. It's Tyler O'Neill. That's a 2-run homer on a line shot to left. His 3rd home run of the month made it 3-0. And even Tommy Edman left the yard. This is a solo shot to make it 7-zip. Cardinals won Game 2 of the doubleheader 13-3. Game 1 of the double dip, afternoon style at Wrigley Field. It was Wainwright and Yadi's final start together at Wrigley. Waino got into trouble in the second with 2 on. He gets the strikeout looking, and it remains scoreless. But the Cubs got to Waino for a pair of runs in the 3rd. Seeing eye single from Saya Suzuki and made it 2-0. And Nolan Arenado came to the plate as the potential go-ahead run in the 7th, but he popped out to short to end the threat. Cardinals were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and they lost the first game of the doubleheader 2-0. Royals home for Arizona. Vinny Pasquantino on the 10-day injured list with a right shoulder issue. But KC still has young star Bobby Witt Jr. His 17th homer of the season made it 1-0 Royals. The Diamondbacks took the lead on some sac flies, and then Christian Walker with an RBI double. That was a big run because right now it's 5-3 Arizona in the 9th inning. And that's sports.
And welcome back. A look at your temperature trend for our Wednesday. We're going to start in the middle 60s. A little bit of patchy fog possible in those river valley areas. Heading into the afternoon, we'll get to the upper 80s with a lot of sunshine. Heading into Wednesday and Thursday, that temperature continues to rise a little bit each and every day. We're near 90 on Thursday. Friday, we cool a little bit. We're going to have a cold front that moves through central Missouri. It basically gets to us, but it doesn't do anything other than cool our temperature a degree or 2. It doesn't cut down the humidity, which will be increasing for Thursday and Friday, and it doesn't provide rain chances. Our rain chances don't move in until Sunday into Monday. At this point, it looks like much of Sunday is dry, a few passing showers possible, better chances of showers and storms going to arrive on Monday.
Well, Ben, you had a busy night tonight. You were off at Big Brothers Big Sisters event.
Yeah, that was a great event. They raised a lot of money for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Missouri, and something really cool happened out of the blue trying to raise more money. Mizzou Athletic Director Desiree Reed-Francois donated her personal tickets for the Missouri-Kansas basketball game this December to bring in a little bit more cash. And I'll say here what I said then. How big is that game? I've been doing this job for over 20 years. 2 times in my entire life have I felt a building shake around me during a sporting event. It was the last time Kansas played Mizzou in basketball at the Hearn Center, and the last time Kansas played Mizzou in men's basketball at Mizzou Arena back in 2012. So that's going to be a huge game. That's this December 10th, and a very lucky individual, very generous individual helped out Big Brothers Big Sisters and will be at that game.
Well, that Missouri-Kansas rivalry, it runs deep.
Lowercase K when you write it.
Yes.
M-I-Z.
Z-O-U.